I had been working at the Galactic Immigration Processing Center for 17 cycles, and I thought I had seen everything. Absolutely everything. Bug-eyed methane breathers? Check. Silicon-based rock creatures who moved slower than continental drift? Double check. That one species that communicated entirely through interpretive dance and smelled like fermented fruit? Unfortunately, yes, but nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the day Marcus Webb walked through my station. The human shuffled up to my counter with the kind of casual confidence that immediately set off alarm bells in my head. He was average height by his species standards, brown hair that looked like it had lost a fight with a pillow, and wearing what I would later learn was called a vintage band shirt and cargo pants. The pants had approximately 47 pockets. I counted. Why would anyone need 47 pockets? What was he hiding? Morning, he said, flashing teeth in what humans call a smile but what most species interpret as a threat display. Here for my immigration physical. I am Kelroth, by the way. Senior Immigration Officer, 3rd class. My species, the Vernaki, pride ourselves on our attention to detail and our ability to remain calm under pressure. We have 4 eyes specifically evolved for paperwork and 3 hearts to handle the stress of bureaucracy. I was about to need all 7 organs. Identification chip, please, I said, sliding the scanner across the counter. He placed his hand on it, and the machine hummed to life. Standard procedure. The scanner would read his genetic code, classify his species, check for contraband biological modifications, and assign him a threat level. Simple. I had done this approximately 14,000 times. The machine made a sound I had never heard before. T was somewhere between a cough, a scream, and the noise my food processor made right before it exploded last month. Not promising, the screen flickered. Then it displayed something that made my primary heart skip a beat. Error. Multiple apex species detected. Please scan one entity at a time. I blinked all 4 eyes in sequence. Sir, are you standing on someone? Marcus looked down at his feet, then back at me. No. Is there perhaps a small creature in one of your many pockets? Just my phone, wallet, keys, a sandwich, some string, 3 pens, a flashlight, that weird rock I found, some lint. He trailed off, patting his pockets. You know, the usual stuff. The usual stuff. Right. I reset the scanner, because clearly it was malfunctioning. 17 cycles of perfect service, and it chooses today to have a breakdown. Typical. Please scan again, I said, trying to keep the irritation out of my voice. He placed his hand back on the scanner. The machine made the same horrible noise. This time, the error message was joined by a flashing red light and a sound like a dying whale. Error. Multiple apex species detected. Genetic markers indicate presence of persistence predator, endurance hunter, pack coordinator, omnivorous adaptoid, tool-using dominator, social superorganism, and calculating. Error overflow. What the? I muttered, leaning closer to the screen. My supervisor, a grouchy heptarian named Grulvax, wandered over. Grulvax had been doing this job for 40 cycles and had the personality of a moldy sponge. What is the holdup, Kelroth? He grumbled. We have a line forming. The scanner is claiming this human is multiple apex species, I explained. Grulvax as I stalks bent forward in what I recognized as extreme skepticism. That is impossible. Run a manual genetic analysis. Oh good. A manual genetic analysis. Those only took 3 hours and required me to use the ancient, temperamental equipment in the back room. I gestured for Marcus to follow me, and he did, seemingly unbothered by the situation. In fact, he looked almost amused. Does this happen a lot? He asked as we walked down the corridor. Never, I said flatly. In the entire history of this facility, never. Cool, he said. Not concerning or worrying but cool. Humans, the analysis room was cramped and smelled like disinfectant and broken dreams. I pulled out the genetic sequencer, a machine so old it probably predated my great-grandparents, and initialized the scanning protocol. This will take a few hours, I informed him. You can wait in the lobby. Mind if I stay? He asked, already pulling up a chair. I find this stuff fascinating. I did mind, actually, but humans apparently did not understand rhetorical statements. He sat down, pulled out one of his 3 pens, and started doodling on a piece of scrap paper while humming something off-key. The genetic sequencer began its work, breaking down his DNA strand by strand. The results started populating on my screen, and I felt my secondary heart begin to palpitate. Human DNA was not just complicated. It was an absolute disaster of evolutionary choices. It was like someone had taken every possible survival advantage from a dozen different species, thrown them in a blender, and hit the chaos setting, persistence predator genes. Check. This species could apparently just keep going. And going. And going. Their bodies were designed to outlast their prey through sheer, bloody-minded stubbornness. They could run for days. Days, endurance adaptations? Their cooling system was insane. They sweated. They literally secreted liquid through their skin to regulate temperature, which meant they could function in conditions that would cook most species alive. A pack coordination markers? Off the charts. They were designed to work in groups, communicate complex strategies, and coordinate attacks. Their brains were wired for social connection and tactical thinking. Tool-using capacity? Their hands were absurd. Opposable thumbs on manipulator appendages that could perform both gross motor tasks and precision work. They could strangle something and then immediately perform microsurgery, and their diet? Everything. They could eat everything. Plants, meat, fungi, things that would poison other species, humans just ate it. Their digestive systems were like garbage disposals with legs. So, Marcus said, looking up from his doodle, which appeared to be a surprisingly accurate sketch of me looking horrified. What is the verdict? You are a nightmare, I said before I could stop myself. He laughed. Actually laughed. Yeah, I have heard that before. No, I mean scientifically speaking, your species is a biological horror show, I continued, gesturing at the screen. You have the genetic markers of at least 7 different apex predator categories. You should not exist. Nothing should evolve like this. It breaks the fundamental rules of ecological niche specialization. Huh, he said, leaning back in his chair. I mean, we did evolve on a death world, so that probably explains some of it. A death world. Of course. I pulled up Earth's classification in the database, and sure enough, it was flagged with 17 different hazard warnings. Extreme temperature variations, volatile weather patterns, ridiculous biodiversity, tectonic instability, and a moon that caused tidal forces strong enough to reshape coastlines. Your planet tried to kill you, I said, reading through the list. Constantly, Marcus agreed cheerfully. Still does, actually. But we got pretty good at not dying. Apparently, you got good at becoming the thing that everything else should fear, I muttered. The genetic sequencer beeped, finishing its analysis. I stared at the final report, then looked at Marcus, then back at the report. According to this, humans were not just apex predators. They were the apex of apex predators. They were what evolution created when it decided to stop holding back and just make something terrifying, and they had 47 pockets. So, can I get my immigration stamp? Marcus asked. I looked at him. Really looked at him. He sat there, doodling, humming, completely at ease. He had walked into a facility designed to process and categorize thousands of species, had broken our most advanced scanner, and was now waiting patiently while I had what could only be described as an existential crisis. I need to call my supervisor, I said. Sure thing, he replied, going back to his drawing. I stepped outside and contacted Grolvax. We have a situation. What now? The human is fine. The human is more than fine. The human is. I struggled for words. Sir, according to the genetic analysis, humans are essentially multiple apex species compressed into one body. They are persistence predators with endurance hunting capabilities, pack coordination instincts, omnivorous adaptation, tool-using intelligence, and social superorganism behaviors. All at once. In one package. There was a long pause. Then Grolvax said, that is impossible. I have the data right here. Another pause. We need to inform the Council. Oh, fantastic. The Galactic Council. A collection of representatives from 200 species who could not agree on what day it was, let alone how to handle the walking nightmare factory that was humanity. This was going to be a disaster. But I had a job to do. I walked back into the analysis room, where Marcus had finished his drawing and was now juggling his 3 pens with disturbing accuracy. Mr. Webb, I said, trying to sound official and not terrified. I am going to need you to wait here while we consult with higher authorities. No problem, he said, catching all 3 pens in one hand. Mind if I order lunch? Lunch. He wanted lunch. While I contacted the most powerful governing body in the galaxy to inform them that humanity was essentially a biological weapon. Sure, I said weakly. Whatever you want. He pulled out his phone from pocket number 12 and started scrolling. Do you guys have pizza here? I could really go for pizza. Pizza. The man wanted pizza. I walked back to my desk, sat down, and began composing the most important message of my career. How does one explain to the Galactic Council that they had just allowed a species of super predators to join the galactic community? How does one convey that every human was essentially carrying the genetic legacy of multiple extinction events in their back pocket, along with that weird rock and some string? I started typing. This was going to be a very long day. The Galactic Council responded in 47 minutes. That was, coincidentally, the same number of pockets Marcus Webb had. I was starting to think the universe had a sick sense of humor. The message was terse. Detain human. Send all data. Emergency session convened. Do not let subject leave facility. Detain. They wanted me to detain a member of a species that had apparently evolved specifically to be undetainable. Perfect. Just perfect. I walked back to the analysis room, where Marcus was eating something he called a sandwich that he had apparently been carrying in pocket number 16. It looked like it had been there for several days. He was eating it anyway. Of course he was. So, he said between bites, am I good to go, or is there more paperwork? Actually, there has been a slight complication, I said, choosing my words carefully. The council has requested your presence for a formal evaluation. Evaluation? He raised one eyebrow. Humans had very expressive facial hair. It was unsettling. Like a test? More like an inquiry, I said. Standard procedure for unusual cases. This was not standard procedure. This was unprecedented, catastrophic, potentially civilization-altering procedure. But I was trying to remain calm. How long will that take? He asked. Unknown. The council is convening an emergency session. Emergency? Now both eyebrows went up. Dude, am I in trouble? Because I paid all my parking tickets before I left Earth. Well, most of them. Okay, some of them. You are not in trouble, I assured him, which was probably a lie. It is just that your genetic profile has raised some questions. Questions like what? Questions like how your species survived long enough to develop space travel without eating itself. He laughed again. Humans laughed at everything. It was one of their more disturbing traits. Oh man, we almost did. Multiple times. Nuclear weapons, climate change, that whole thing with the murder hornets. But we figured it out. Mostly. Murder hornets. I did not want to know. I absolutely did not want to know. Grulvax appeared in the doorway, all 7 of his eye stalks focused on Marcus with varying expressions of concern and horror. Kelroth, the council wishes to conduct a remote interview. Set up the holoprojector. Great. A remote interview. That meant every species representative would be watching, judging, and probably panicking. I set up the equipment while Marcus finished his ancient sandwich and brushed crumbs off his shirt. So I am about to talk to alien leaders, he asked. Yes. Cool. Do I need to dress up? Because this is literally all I brought. I looked at his outfit. The vintage band shirt proclaimed something called the Rolling Stones and featured a cartoon tongue. His cargo pants had a visible stain on one knee. His shoes were held together with what appeared to be actual tape. You are fine, I said, because what else could I say? We were past the point of presentation, the holoprojector hummed to life, and suddenly the room was filled with 200 angry, confused, and terrified alien representatives. They appeared as translucent figures arranged in a circle around us. The effect was meant to be intimidating. Based on Marcus's expression of mild interest, it was not working. High Chancellor Vex, a towering Morvathian with scales like polished obsidian and a voice that could shatter glass, spoke first. Human Marcus Webb, you stand before the Galactic Council to answer questions regarding your genetic composition. Sure thing, Marcus said, giving a little wave. Hey everybody. Several representatives recoiled. Humans waved at everyone. It was friendly. It was also how they said, I see you and I have opposable thumbs and excellent aim, so maybe we should be friends. Vex continued, ignoring the informality. Our analysis indicates that your species possesses genetic markers associated with multiple apex predator classifications. This is theoretically impossible. Explain. Marcus scratched his head. Well, I mean, evolution? We evolved on Earth. Earth is kind of intense. Lots of things trying to kill us. We adapted. You adapted by becoming 7 different types of apex predator? This was from Representative Kelroth, a crystalline being who communicated through light pulses. Her glow was currently a very alarmed shade of orange. I guess. Marcus shrugged. We are persistence hunters, so we can track prey for days. We are endurance runners, so we do not overheat or tire easily. We are social creatures, so we work in groups. We use tools, because thumbs are awesome. We eat pretty much anything, because sometimes food is scarce. Is that weird? Yes, came the unified response from approximately 50 different representatives. Huh, Marcus said. Well, it worked out for us. High Chancellor Vex leaned forward, his massive form casting shadows across the room even through the hologram. Human, do you understand what you are describing? You are a biological impossibility. A single species cannot occupy multiple ecological niches simultaneously. You should have specialized. Instead, you generalized to an extreme that defies natural law. Well, we did almost go extinct a few times, Marcus offered. There was this volcanic eruption about 70,000 years ago that dropped our population to like 10,000 people. We got better though. You got better, Vex repeated slowly. From a bottleneck event that should have eliminated your species entirely, you got better. Yep. We are pretty stubborn. I watched as 200 representatives processed this information. Several were conferring with their aides. One appeared to be having some kind of breakdown. The Heptarian delegate was making a sound like grinding metal, which I knew meant extreme distress. Representative Queln, a floating jellyfish creature from Andromeda Sigma, pulsed a question through her translator. What predators did your species face during your evolution? Oh man, tons, Marcus said, warming to the topic. Saber-toothed cats, cave bears, dire wolves, short-faced bears, cave lions, hyenas. Plus everything wanted to eat early humans. We were not very big or strong compared to most predators. Then how did you survive? Queln asked. We got smart. And we worked together. And we just kept going. Like, a lion can run faster than us, sure. But we can run longer. We would just chase it until it collapsed from exhaustion. Then we would eat it. With tools we made. While probably singing a song about it. The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, Vex spoke. You persistence hunted your predators to extinction. Some of them, yeah, Marcus admitted. I mean, climate change got a lot of them too. But we definitely helped. And the others? We domesticated them. Like wolves. We turned them into dogs. Now they live in our houses and we give them treats and they love us. It is great. More silence. Then Representative Zilnex, a being made entirely of sentient gas, whistled through his translator. You are telling us that you took your apex predator competitors and turned them into companions who perform tasks for you in exchange for food and affection? Yeah, dogs are awesome, Marcus said. We also domesticated cats, but they are less helpful. They just kind of vibe. We feed them anyway because they are cute. I could see several representatives making frantic notes. Others looked like they wanted to flee. One had actually fainted, their hologram flickering. Vex raised one massive claw. Let me ensure I understand. Your species faced numerous extinction-level threats. Predators, climate events, resource scarcity. Instead of specializing in a single survival strategy, you developed multiple strategies simultaneously. You became pursuit predators, ambush hunters, social cooperators, and tool users. You did not just survive. You thrived. You spread across your entire planet, adapting to every biome from frozen tundra to scorching desert. You domesticated your predators. You survived a genetic bottleneck. You developed agriculture, civilization, and space travel. All while remaining biologically capable of running down prey over marathon distances, digesting nearly anything, and coordinating complex group tactics. That sounds about right, Marcus agreed. And now you wish to join the galactic community. I mean, yeah. We would love to meet new people, share ideas, trade stuff. We are pretty friendly once you get to know us. Friendly, Vex said, and I could not tell if he was amused or terrified. Possibly both. Human Marcus Webb, your species represents something we have never encountered. You are not specialists. You are aggressively, impossibly versatile. You are biological wildcards. Is that a problem? Marcus asked, and I noticed his posture had shifted slightly. More alert. More focused. The predator instincts kicking in. Vex noticed too. I saw his scales ripple. That depends entirely on your species' intentions. Our intentions are to not be alone in the universe anymore, Marcus said, and his voice had lost some of its casual tone. We spent thousands of years thinking we were it. Just us. Alone. Then we developed the technology to look farther, and we found you. All of you. We are not here to conquer or dominate. We are here because isolation is terrifying and we would really, really like some friends. The honesty in his voice caught everyone off guard. Including me, Representative Queln pulsed softly. You wish for companionship? Yeah, Marcus said. We are social creatures, remember? We work better in groups. We are stronger together. That applies to species too, we think. We have technology you do not. You have technology we do not. We could help each other. Or you could outcompete us, Zilnex said quietly. Your versatility means you could adapt to nearly any niche. You could replace us. We could, Marcus acknowledged. But we will not. Because that is not how we operate. We survived by cooperating, not by eliminating competition. We are good at making friends. Even with species that tried to eat our ancestors. He smiled again, and this time I understood it was not a threat display. It was an invitation. Vex was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, the council will deliberate. You will have our answer within the cycle. The holograms flickered out, leaving just me, Marcus, and Grulvax in the suddenly empty room. Well, Marcus said, that seemed to go okay. I stared at him. You just told the Galactic Council that humans are persistence predators who hunted their enemies to exhaustion and domesticated the survivors. I mean, when you say it like that it sounds bad. It is bad. Is it though? He tilted his head. We are also the species that makes art and music. We write poetry. We take care of sick animals we find. We cry at sad movies. We are complicated. He was right. The genetic analysis had shown the predator markers, but it had also shown something else. Empathy markers. Altruism indicators. A biological drive to protect and nurture. Humans were not just hunters. They were also guardians. They were impossibly, frustratingly complicated. 6 hours later, the council reached their decision. High Chancellor Vex delivered it personally, his hologram appearing in my office where Marcus was teaching me a human card game called Go Fish. The Galactic Council has voted, Vex announced. Humanity will be granted provisional membership. You will be monitored. Your expansion will be regulated. But you will be welcomed. Marcus jumped up. Really? That is amazing. Thank you. Do not thank us yet, Vex said. We are taking a calculated risk. Your species could change everything. We will try not to mess it up, Marcus promised. Vex's expression might have been a smile. It was hard to tell with Morvathian facial structures. Human, I suspect you will do far more than try. Your species does not know how to quit. Nope, Marcus agreed cheerfully. It is genetic. After Vex disconnected, I stamped Marcus's immigration papers with shaking hands. He was officially the first human approved for galactic citizenship. Congratulations, I said. Try not to accidentally conquer anything. I will do my best, he said, shaking my hand with one of those impossibly versatile manipulator appendages. Thanks for everything, Kelroth. You are good people. As I watched him walk out of my office, cargo pants swishing with every step, I realized something. The galaxy had just changed forever. And somehow, despite everything, I thought maybe it would be okay. Humans were terrifying. But they were also, apparently, pretty friendly once you got to know them. Just hoped the rest of the galaxy was ready.